a school resource officer that a 16-year-old boy had shown them pictures of scratches down his back. The boy said the scratches were from a teacher after they allegedly had sex in her driveway. The 16-year-old boy reportedly told the witness he was even the reason for his teacher's divorce.
He had scratches down his back. The student told a witness the scratches came from the teacher after they had sex in her driveway. That is a direct summary from a probable cause affidavit filed in a Missouri court. It is not a rumor. It is a sworn statement from a detective. One single detail: fingernail marks on the skin of a minor. Pivoted a classroom rumor into a felony investigation that would eventually dismantle an entire school's trust, send a teacher to prison, and reveal a father's criminal complicity. If your entire world could collapse from the evidence left under a shirt, how careful you watching the people who have access to your children? Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to EvidenceAxis, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. Think of the yacht like a pane of tempered glass. From a distance it looks like a smooth, transparent surface of teenage gossip, but the moment that single scratch mark is documented, the glass doesn't just crack, it shatters entirely into 1,000 fragments, each shard representing a piece of data extracted from a seized iPhone. The case against 26-year-old high school math teacher Hailey Clifton-Carmack is not about a he said she said. It's about the geometry of a human back becoming a legal document. In the sterile language of a criminal complaint, the human body becomes a crime scene. The phrase that the state of Missouri used to describe this is endangering the welfare of a child. But when you strip away the statutory language, you are left with a chillingly simple transaction scene. The trust of a classroom swapped for a secret in a driveway. Here is the official narrative gap. The detective arrived at 2023, not with handcuffs out, but with a veneer of bureaucratic calm.
Allegations is identified in court documents as 26-year-old Hailey Clifton-Carmack. Around the time the allegations came to light, she was a high school math teacher for the LaQuay School District. So let's jump to the next day, December 8th, 2023, when deputies pay Hailey a little visit at her job.
First off, do you have your cell phone on you? Okay, can I see that, please?
Yeah.
I do have a warrant for taking it into evidence, which I will get to you, okay? Right now, the reason I'm here is that allegations have been brought forth about inappropriate relationships with a student. So I'm here to investigate that matter. And while I investigate that matter, there's situations that they have to handle with you on that part, so we'll let them go ahead and get that part out of the way. So...
The audio recording of that encounter is a masterclass in the distance between what authority says and what authority knows. The detective tells Hailey, right now, we're just going through the formalities of the investigation to get your side of it. He even offers a soothing hypothetical, telling her it was really that serious, he would have hunted her down the night before. But that statement was a tactical void.
They have to go by when we got to. So like you said, just breathe. If it was really that serious, I wouldn't have waited for you to come to work today. I would have hunted you down last night. You'd be in jail right now, okay? But right now we're just going through the formalities of the investigation to get your side of it and try and find out what's been going on and why accusations like this would be brought forward, okay? So you're not under arrest or anything. So what we'd like to do is we'll give a chance for kids to go back to class and everything, and then I'll just have you drive your own vehicle down to the sheriff's department and meet me down there so we can talk about it. I understand.
The formality of serving a search warrant for her phone was not a casual step, it was the detonation of her digital privacies, likely believing the performance that this was just a check-box exercise to clear her name. She didn't realize she was handing over a vault containing a specific photograph, a selfie depicting exposed breasts, and a message in Netflix and chill. The glass was already shattered, the pieces just hadn't fallen yet. The parallel narrative here belongs to the father of the 16-year-old victim. This isn't merely a story about a predator, it's a story about a gatekeeper who unlocked the gate.
December 7th, 2023, we're in Pulaski County, Missouri. Just after 2:30 that afternoon, a deputy with the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office arrives to a local home to talk to a high school student's dad.
Hey, Detective Sergeant Gibbs. Yeah. So, regarding your son, there's been allegations that are brought forward to Lakeway School about he has been in a relationship with the teacher. He's not in any trouble or anything. But
when investigators first came to his door, the father played the role of the confused parent, stating he couldn't imagine when such a relationship would have even taken place.
Sometime between a week time frame, either before or after his birthday in November, is when all this took place.
Yeah, I ain't heard nothing about it.
Yeah. Well, they just got it reported to them by another student, and they called us. And in order to keep any evidence from getting deleted from the phone, we went ahead and seized it. We can either do the phone download by your consent. If you come down to the sheriff's department and fill out the paperwork, we can do it by consent, or I can apply for a search warrant to search it, because we believe there's going to be some evidence on there of the relation.
That was a lie. According to court records, witnesses reported that this father knew. The probable cause statement reveals a man who actively downplayed the danger. When a witness told the father they intended to report the teacher, his response was, "They are going to do it behind my back, so I may as well let it happen." Let that sentence settle. A sexual predator was about to flee the state, and the reaction from the child's own parent wasn't protection, it was passive resignation that morphed into active obstruction. The protection instinct was dead, the loyalty to a secret was prioritized over the safety of his own son. He even told a witness he would lie for his son if he had to, a statement that collapses under the weight of its own contradiction. If you have to lie to protect a child, you've likely already failed to protect them.
Well, unfortunately at this time there's a bunch of evidence that goes against everything,
Okay.
and that shows that you knew about the relationship.
After y'all took the phone, I heard about it.
And knowing about that relationship and her being over here on the 24th and everything, that's endangering the welfare of a child first degree. It means at this point in time, I've got to place you under arrest and take you into the department, and you're going to be on a 24-hour hold while I send a probable cause statement up to the PA's office. Because I know you had contact with Hailey as well and let her know about the investigation. Both told you that about their relationship and that it had been going on at school for a while. So there's a lot more that I've known about it, and I've tried to give you a chance to come forth with it. And there's even messages on his and her phone in regards to their relationship.
The father's failure was so total that the state of Missouri arrested him and charged him with endangering the welfare of a child, alleging he worked to facilitate the secret relationship.
According to court documents, the victim's father relayed to confidential witness number 2 that Hailey and the victim have been in a sexual relationship and have used students as lookouts while they have sex during school, and that Hailey had been over to the residence before she left Missouri to go to Texas. When confidential witness number 2 advised the father they were going to come forward with the information, he responded by telling her that they were going to do it behind my back, so I may as well let it happen. He also advised confidential witness number 2 that he would lie for his son if he had to. After receiving this information, I went out and spoke to the father, who did acknowledge that Hailey had been over at their residence before leaving to go to Texas. So in addition to the charges Hailey faced,
the protection instinct was dead. But the most audacious act of the irony amplification comes from the teacher's flight and the digital breadcrumbs she left behind. Investigators discovered that before Hailey Clifton-Carmack left the state, she went to the house of the 16-year-old student. This was after the investigation had started, after her phone was seized, after she had been placed on administrative leave. The protection instinct was dead. She didn't stay away to prove her innocence. She gravitated back to the victim. This behavior transformed her from a passive suspect into an active threat. The court documents then paint a picture of a fractured authority structure.
Reportedly told investigators she didn't have any relationship with her 16-year-old student, but Hailey seemingly was already on thin ice at her job. She reportedly got in trouble with the school administration for being too close with students. The witness who came forward to report her also told investigators she was allegedly too friendly with students and would sometimes dress inappropriately at school and divulge too much of her personal life to the class. But this witness also revealed they overheard a phone conversation between Hailey and her 16-year-old student, where she allegedly told the boy, "I'm out of state, but I can send you money, baby," when it was his birthday.
The school district had previously reprimanded her for being too friendly with students. In an act of staggering reckless transparency, she allegedly used students as lookouts during sexual encounters at school. The classroom, a space designed for algebraic equations and scholastic safety, was morphed into a logistical hub for a statutory crime. Students who should have been focused on exams were instead deployed as sentinels to protect a sexual predator from detection. This is not a lapse in judgment, this is the operational methodology of predator manipulating an entire ecosystem of teenagers to serve her desires. The national security angle here isn't geopolitical, it's the domestic security of the public school system. If an adult can weaponize a school's social hierarchy to manufacture lookouts and conceal felony sexual acts on school grounds, where exactly is the boundary of institutional protection? The question becomes a ticking clock for every parent hearing this evidence. How much time passed between the moment a student scratched a teacher's back in a car and the moment a handcuff finally clicked around her wrist, and how many signals were missed in those intervening seconds? The physical evidence extracted from the phone escalated the case exponentially. What started as a witness statement about scratches turned into a superseding indictment of 11 criminal counts. The affidavit's language turns from clinical to graphic. Count 8 describes a photograph of a female touching her exposed vagina. Count 7 describes the defendant bent over with her pants pulled down, attached to the text, "Maybe some Netflix and chill lol." The same hands that wrote out lesson plans on a whiteboard were staging and transmitting child pornography to a minor. The transition from Ducator to roommate number was driven entirely by forensic data. She pleaded not guilty initially, but the weight of her own transmitted images left no legal shadow to hide in. Hailey Clifton-Carmack ultimately entered a guilty plea to sexual contact with a student. A judge sentenced her to 4 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections. Her attempt at a sex offender assessment program failed. In February of 2025, a judge denied her release. She is now serving out the remainder of her sentence in prison, a Tier 3 sex offender for the rest of her life.
She was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Her sentence was reportedly under the DOC sex offender assessment program, which meant she could have been granted probation if she completed the program. However, in February of 2025, a judge denied her release, and she'll have to serve the remainder of her sentence in prison. Hailey Clifton-Carmack is serving her sentence at the Chillicothe Correctional Center in Missouri.
That is the terminal velocity of a career or reputation that collided with a 16-year-old scratched back. The father, in a separate but parallel arc, took a plea deal in March of 2024 for his role in endangering his child. His sentence was probation. He gets to walk free, a piece of the shattered glass that somehow flew backward without cutting him as deeply.
Relationship with. She didn't return to Missouri until weeks later, and that was only because she was extradited there after being arrested. And she wasn't the only one to face charges. On January 3rd, another witness reportedly met with detectives and said they spoke with the boys.
This brings us to the unanswered question. In the probable cause affidavit, witnesses describe a school environment where the teacher's inappropriate dress and overly personal disclosures were widely known. A pattern of behavior was normalized. Students were allegedly acting as lookouts. We have to ask who else saw the cracks before the glass broke. We are placing the original probable cause statement and the final indictment details directly in the description below. After you look at the specific language of the Netflix and chill transcript and the nature of the photographs, we need you to answer one direct question in the comments. In an environment where physical evidence, the scratches, had to be witnessed by a peer before adults acted, at what specific point does a school administrator's failure to intervene stop being negligence and start becoming criminal complicity? Your perspective matters. Like this video, share it, subscribe to EvidenceAxis, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next exhibit.